So I got a lot of messages from people who have not been to Liberia in 10 plus years and they're traveling there for the first time. So I thought I'd do a little video about medical considerations. I'm not a medical doctor, I'm a registered nurse, so this does not replace any medical advice that you would get from your physician. If this applies to you, then keep watching. This is Joy from She Speaks To. Hadu, Nawio. I'm going to be doing a video about medical considerations when traveling to Liberia. This does not replace medical advice from your physician. These are just things to consider if you haven't been there in a very long time. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you share. I am trying to reach 1,000 subscribers. So the first thing that you're gonna need, this is a requirement, this is not something that you can decide not to get, is the yellow fever vaccination, which they're gonna put in your yellow book. This yellow book is needed, keep it with you at all times when you're traveling. So the yellow fever is caused by the bite of an infected mosquito. It's a viral illness. I don't know anyone who's had it. It's just, I guess, something that you definitely don't want to get. So that's a requirement. Here in Texas, there is a shortage of the yellow fever vaccination. So we had to go to a place for my daughter that specializes in travel vaccination. We couldn't get it at the health department. And it was very expensive. It was almost $300 for her to get this vaccination. I've already had it, and once you've gotten the vaccination, it's a lifetime dose. You don't have to get a booster or anything like that. So that is a requirement. They're gonna put this in your yellow book, keep it handy. Another vaccination that is not a requirement, but it's something that you should really consider, is the typhoid vaccination. Typhoid is caused by consuming contaminated food or drinking contaminated water, or from person to person by the oral fecal route, meaning maybe someone didn't wash their hands. Ew, gross. You don't want to get it that way or any other way. So this is a vaccination that could prevent the disease. I got this at my local CVS store. It was a booster for me because I've had it in 2013. The shots are good for 5 years, so mine expired in 2018. So I paid about $45 for it. However, if this would be your first dose, I think it'd be close to 100 or 120 or so to get. But if it's something that you've spoken to your doctor about, something that there's no contraindications, meaning that there's no reason you shouldn't get it, it's something that you should highly consider. And you should also, when you go to Liberia, also be aware of the water you're drinking. If you're not sure if the water has been treated, if it's safe, drink bottled water. Even brush your teeth with bottled water. Also, when you go out to restaurants or people's homes and they give you bottled water and you're not sure of the water supply, don't get ice cubes. That's something to consider. That's something that I did while I was there. I drank bottled water. Unless I knew where the water was coming from, I didn't do ice cubes. So that's just something to take into consideration. The next thing to take into consideration is some kind of malaria prophylaxis. You don't want to get malaria, especially if you're on vacation. You're there to have fun time. You're not there for illness. So there are 3 major malaria prophylaxis. The first one is Malaria, and that can be used as prophylaxis, and it can also be used to treat malaria. I haven't had that one, don't have a lot of experience, but Malaria is something you would take daily. The second one is doxycycline. I have taken that one. One thing to consider with doxycycline, it can make you sensitive to sunlight, which, I mean, you're going to Africa, so that's a big consideration. The second thing is doxycycline can be hard on your stomach. For me, I would have to eat crackers, wait about 20-30 minutes, then take it. If I didn't, it would make me sick to my stomach. And that's one that you would have to take daily. The one that we took this time was mefloquine, and that was one that you have to take daily. The thing with mefloquine is that it can cause you to have weird dreams. So that the doctor warned us. It can also, if you have any history of mental illness, it can cause increased anxiety, psychotic episodes, increased depression. So if that's something that you have an issue with already, that might not be the drug for you. It did cause some weird dreams, but not enough to disturb me. They were very vivid dreams. So But the mefloquine you take once a week, and so that was the benefit, and that was the reason I decided to take it. Me and my daughter took that one. She took 1/4 of a tablet, and then I took a full tablet, and we took that weekly. Considering malaria, one thing that you may consider doing is every once in a while we would spray our rooms. And I know people who spray their rooms nightly before they go to bed. We would spray our rooms when we knew that we were leaving for a couple of hours. Spray the room, close the door, try to kill all the mosquitoes, come back in a couple of hours, because the spray that we used was kind of strong. It was like a white and green bottle, and I'll put a picture up so you can see what I'm talking about, but it was very strong. So we would leave for a couple of hours, spray the room, come back, and make sure the room was safe. So that's something that you may want to take into consideration. Also, if you use an insect repellent here on your body that you like, and there's a Johnson & Johnson one that's kind of gentle for kids. If you like that, you might want to consider taking that with you instead of going there and having to look for something that you are not used to or haven't used before. So over-the-counter medicine that you would consider to take would be whatever you take here or wherever you live for pain relief or for fever. So if you have a fever and you take Tylenol or ibuprofen, pack those. If you have joint aches, what do you take? Take that with you. Don't get to Liberia and start looking for those things. Take that with you. If you take something, if you had an allergic reaction, would you take Benadryl here? If that's something that you would do, then take that with you. If your kids had an allergic reaction, for instance, my daughter is very sensitive to the season change, so sometimes we'll go outside, depending on how it is in Texas, her eyes will get swollen, we give her Benadryl. So I took that with me. So anything that you usually would take here, take that with you. For instance, if you have diarrhea and you take Imodium here, take that with you. Take that for your kids. If you have an upset stomach and you take Pepto-Bismol, or if your kids take something for stomach aches, if they're prone to that, take that with you. I would not wait until I got to Liberia to look for those things. So what I took was, I took Tylenol, I took ibuprofen, I took Benadryl, I took something for a cold. If I or my 4-year-old would have a cold, what we took here is what I took for stomach ache and of course diarrhea. And also for the kids, I also took packets of Pedialyte where you could tear it, put it in water, shake it in case of if your child had extreme diarrhea and you wanted to give them like fluid replacement with the Pedialytes, because the Pedialyte has electrolyte replacement. So I took that. So everywhere we went, in my purse, in a Ziploc bag, I had Tylenol, I had Benadryl, I had something for diarrhea, and it wasn't a lot. I just took a couple of pills, caplets, put it in there for me, put it in there for her, and I just took that around with us everywhere we went. So if, for instance, you are taking medicine for a condition like high blood pressure, if you are taking birth control pills, make sure you have enough for the duration of your trip. I went to the pharmacy in Liberia. I was there for 3 months. They do have those medications, but it may not be the ones that you're taking here. And so that is not the time to experiment and say, let me try something new. For instance, birth control pills, I could not find the one that I take in the United States. So I had to change because I ran out. And so the one that they have is called Lydia. And so that's a different dosage of hormones that I'm used to. So if you're taking something here, make sure that you take enough. If it's, let's say, blood pressure medicine, if it's asthma medicine, if you take a relief inhaler, take that with you, because dust can aggravate asthma. If you take a regular scheduled dose of inhaler, take that with you also. There is an app that I use to fill my prescriptions. It's Prescription RX, and I'll put a picture up there. So what I do is you put in your zip code and put in the medication, the dosage, and the amount. So for instance, you're traveling to Liberia and you need like a 30-day supply or a 60-day supply. You put that in, and then you put your zip code, and it tells you where you can find it cheaper. So let's just take a blood pressure medicine like lisinopril. You put that in there, put your zip code, and I'll put all of this up here. And you put your zip code, it tells you where you can find that if you were looking for a 60-day supply. Even the malaria prophylaxis, it was going to cost us make like $140, but with the this prescription app, I was able to get it for very cheap. And so I'll put that up there too. So this app is really good, especially if you're, things are getting costly with your trip medication wise, and you're gonna have to get a higher quantity because you're traveling. This is something that you can use to kind of reduce the cost. And I'll put the app up and I'll put the things up so you can see the medications. So healthcare in Liberia, where would I go if I needed healthcare? I was able to tour the Jamali Clinic and I was very impressed. So it's a clinic, they can stabilize you. It's not a hospital, so they can stabilize you. And then if you still need extra treatment, they can have you transported to a hospital. They have an MRI machine, CT, they have a laboratory. They do primary health care, blood pressure, medicine, dizziness, anything you can think of, I would go there. I felt very comfortable, somewhere I would go for treatment. Hospital-wise, I did not visit any of the hospitals. I did hear of a hospital called Fidelity that I heard would be somewhere that I would go to if I needed to. And also ELWA Hospital is another hospital that I think I would go for treatment if needed. These are just medical considerations while traveling to Liberia. I hope it helped you. I hope you take these things into consideration, especially if you're traveling with young children. This is Joy from She Speaks Too. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you later. Thank you.